Welcome to Herkimer County Community College. And thank you all for being here on this truly great announcement that we have today. I'd first like to announce some of the guests that have joined us this morning. And President of Herkimer County Community College, Anne Marie Murray, is on our front row. New York State Commissioner of Office of General Services, Mrs. Royanne Destito. Oneida County Executive, Anthony Pacenti. Herkimer County District Attorney, Jeffrey Carpenter. Herkimer County Legislator Minority Leader, John Brzezinski. John. Mayor of the City of Utica, Rob Palmieri. Mayor. Mayor of the City of Rome, Joe Fusco. Joe. Mayor of the City of Little Falls, Robert Peters. Supervisor for the Town of German Flats, Frank Spotto. Mayor for the Village of Fort Plain, Guy Barton. Mayor of the Village of Frankfort, Frank Morocco. Mayor for the Village of Ilion, John Stevens. Mayor for the Village of Whitesboro, Raymond DeVue. And to all the other local officials who have joined us here today, welcome. My name is Vincent Bono. I am Chairman of the Herkimer County Legislature. I would like to extend a special welcome to Governor Cuomo. He has been a real partner throughout this ordeal, and our community thanks him for his commitment. This summer, the Mohawk Valley was hit hard by a devastating flood, as you know. Homes were destroyed and severe damage was done to our businesses and infrastructure. But Governor Cuomo stood by us, leading in the relief effort and providing our towns with resources that we needed to get through this storm. He issued a disaster declaration and deployed 250 members of the National Guard to help clear debris and repair our roads. He directed the Department of Environmental Conservation to begin immediate work in the counties like ours impacted by the heavy rains. His efforts to provide state assistance, which New Yorkers will start seeing today, will allow us to rebound quickly from this disaster. Governor Cuomo has shown us a true commitment to the Mohawk Valley during this difficult time, and he has continued to work hard to ensure that the restoration of our community is as painless and efficient as possible. When Washington failed us, Governor Cuomo stepped up to help our communities and once again delivered results when we needed it most. Through our region, we were dealt a hard blow by the storm. We are optimistic about our future. New Yorkers, especially here in the Mohawk Valley, are resilient and they are strong, and we thank Governor for his unwavering support. It is now my pleasure to introduce Governor Cuomo from our great state of New York.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, and good morning to all of you. It's really my pleasure to be back. And first, let's thank our host. You have been so gracious with this facility. Let's thank President Murray, Herkimer Valley Community College, for their hospitality. To Chairman Jim Bono. Jim, thank you very much. Thank you for your leadership. Let's give Jim a round of applause. Senator Seward, who is representing my colleagues from Albany, Albany representatives on the Senate side. Pleasure to be with you, Senator Seward. Assemblyman Angelo Santa Barbara, you'll hear from. Pleasure to be with you again, Angelo, and all our Assembly colleagues. And County Executive Anthony Pacenti and the mayors who were here. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for being here today. You know, today it's a relatively simple message. New Yorkers are good people. They are amazingly good people. And they are people who believe in community. You know, people talk about New Yorkers that we're tough. Yeah, we're tough. But we're also kind, and we're also generous. And we have different parts of the state, upstate, downstate, Long Island, but we're also one state, and we believe in unity, and we believe in coming together. And when something happens to one part of the state, one region of the state, every other person in this state rallies to the cause. It's amazing. I've had too much experience, frankly, in dealing with disasters over the past 2.5 years. But New Yorkers' spirit of community and spirit of helping and generosity is always there in full force. So when they heard about what happened in the Mohawk Valley this summer, their instinct was, we have to do what we can do to help, period. Neighbor helping neighbor, that's what New Yorkers are all about. And we did suffer a difficult blow, as the chairman pointed out. And the individual cases of hardship were terrible. And it came out of the blue, it came out of nowhere, people were surprised. It was a terrible situation. But in times of crisis, you really see what people are made of. And the people of the Mohawk Valley picked themselves up. They are resilient. That's the word the chairman used. That's the right word. And New Yorkers all across the state said they wanted to be of help. You remember we applied for federal funding, FEMA funding for individual homeowners, and the federal government turned us down. They said we were ineligible, and there's a formula that you have to meet or some technical federal regulation that we didn't meet. So homeowners, business owners were not going to be reimbursed, and they were going to be on their own. And what we said as New Yorkers is, just because the federal government said no, we're not going to abandon our neighbors, we're not going to abandon our fellow New Yorkers. And we said, we'll step in even though the federal government said no, and the state of New York will provide the reimbursement to the individual homeowners. We then, since we didn't have that money allocated in the budget, technically, we had to get state authorization to do it, and I'm the governor, and I like to think that I can do whatever I want to do whenever I want to do it, but I have some colleagues in the legislature who are very fond of reminding me of the limitation of my powers and abilities. So I had to go speak to my colleagues in the legislature. I had to talk to the Senate and the Assembly, and I had to get them to approve this use of funding. Now, normally that would require dozens of meetings and all sorts of conversations back and forth. But we actually did this on the telephone. I called the senators, I called the assemblymen, we had the conversation, and we did it over the telephone. And that's extraordinary in this day and age, that you can do millions of dollars worth of business just on the telephone, without a lawyer, without a piece of paper, without 900 signatures and people checking, just on the telephone. And that is a tribute to the legislature, to the senators, to the assembly. It's emblematic of the relationship that we've developed, that I'm proud of, that we do business as colleagues. And in many ways, it represented exactly what the people of this state were saying. We want to help. We want to help. Federal government said no, bureaucracy, regulations, they're our neighbors, we want to help. And that's exactly what the legislature did. And they appropriated funding, and they literally said, whatever we have to do to help, we'll do it, and we'll figure it out later. And the state stepped in, and with that authorization, we wanted to move as quickly as possible because people were suffering literally. They needed funding to rebuild their homes, rebuild their businesses. We've had state workers working 7 days a week to do the assessments, to get the funding out. There's been a fantastic partnership with the local governments. And I want to thank the cities and the towns and the villages, and I want to thank the counties, because those relationships worked and they allowed us to move as quickly as we're moving. And today we're going to be issuing checks to 1,200 homeowners and renters and businesses, total of about $13.6 million. 558 people in Herkimer, 145 in Oneida, 104 in Montgomery will receive funding. That's to homeowners. There was a maximum of $31,000 to reimburse them for homeowner damage. Businesses and farms also will be reimbursed, maximum there of up to $50,000, and it will be $13.6 million in total, 6.5 for Herkimer, 1.5 for Oneida, 1.4 million for Montgomery County. We'll be distributing checks literally as soon as today. That is on top of everything else we're doing, remember. The FEMA funding, the federal funding is eligible for governments, so the public, what they call public facilities funding, the roads, the bridges, the cost to government will be reimbursed. We're also funding community revitalization zones, an additional $6 million to provide communities with money they need to build back. So we're doing what we said we would do, that we're going through a tough time, but that we would pull together and we would make it to the other side. And that's my last point today. You can't see it because you're here every day. I come and go. But the progress you've made is extraordinary. You know, you drive around now, you look at the communities, you would never know anything happened. And it's striking because the difference is just, it's literally night and day, and it's happened over a period of time, and maybe you don't feel it, but I was here a few weeks ago. I tell you, it looks like a totally different place, which just reinforces the point there is nothing that we can't do when we work at it together. And when we're willing to put our differences aside and we come together as one, the people of this state can accomplish anything. And the goal here is not just to replace what was, not just to rebuild, but to actually use this as an opportunity to build back better than before. In a very strange way, if we do this right, we'll look back a year from now and we'll say, you know what, it was a terrible thing that we went through. But we pulled together, it brought out the best in people, and we actually built back better than we were before. And we took this as an opportunity to improve, to build a better home, to build a better road, to clean out the creeks, to learn from this situation, to actually improve the condition. And that is going to happen. And it is happening now, and today is another step in that direction. And you should be so proud of what you've done and how you've done it, and the elected officials who really rose to the occasion, and your neighbors all across this state who were there with you from day one and want you to know they care about you, and anything you need to help your community rebuild, they will do. Thank you for having me. It was my pleasure.
Well, first of all, thank you, Governor, for coming here today. We really do appreciate seeing you here. My name is David Houghton, and I am one of the many people whose livelihoods were turned upside down this summer by the recent floods. Earlier this summer, Governor Cuomo announced that the state would be delivering millions of dollars in aid to homeowners, businesses, and farmers like myself who had lost so much. Personally, the losses that I have seen as a result of this summer's flooding are tremendous, especially for farmers because their businesses are dictated by Mother Nature. The water ruined fields across my farm that I had just seeded, destroying nutrients in the soil that first had to be replaced before I could put new crops in. In a normal harvest year, my farm produces over 1,000 tons of corn silage for feed. This year, we'll be lucky if we produce 400 tons, which is going to mean having to buy a lot of feed. In fact, some of my fields have 90% losses in their crops. But thanks to the Governor, the losses from this storm are being made up. Today, Governor Cuomo is delivering on his promise to give and deliver extra cash in our pockets to make the repairs and replace what we lost. I'm very thankful for the governor's support. I'm very glad that he's very proactive to the ag industry. That's good to see. And standing up for farmers when we needed the help. And being there through all the ups and downs of these floods. I would like to now introduce Senator James Seward.
Thank you, David. Thank you for sharing your story. You truly do represent that resilient spirit of not only the farmers, but all the people of our region. And together we'll get through this. And Governor, it's always good to be with you. You have been a steadfast partner for us these past 2 months since the aftermath of the floods, and we could not be more grateful in this region. Thank you, Governor, for being here once again. And I would certainly like to acknowledge my colleague from the Senate and our neighbor from Oneida County, State Senator Joe Griffo. Senator Griffo, thank you for being here. I'll tell you, throughout this flood event, Senator Griffo has been a very, very effective advocate for his constituents, as he is on every issue that impact them. I certainly don't need to remind anyone in this room that late June and early July, our region endured almost 3 weeks of continuing rain and flooding and threats of even more flooding. And the damage was extensive. You know, I toured the area with many of you in this room, including the governor, and I saw for myself the devastating effects that this flooding had on our public infrastructure, on many homes, and our communities in general. We heard so many stories, personal tragedies as a result of this devastation. And as bad as that was, it also reminded us of what New Yorkers are capable of when we come together. And that starts right at the top. Governor Cuomo has been there for us. This is his 5th visit to Herkimer County alone since the floods just 2 months ago. And working to help us get the assistance that we need to recover and to rebuild. Now, he repeatedly called on the federal government, as many of us did, to support New York State in our time of need. And although FEMA did not come through with all the resources that we had hoped for, particularly in the individual assistance area, Governor Cuomo worked with those of us, as he alluded to in the legislature, to swiftly alleviate the financial burdens placed on homeowners, on businesses and farmers here in the Mohawk Valley. Together, we found room in the state budget so that no New Yorker would have to bear these burdens alone. Just within two and a half weeks of the floods, we were right here in this room, and the governor announced the state money to assist homeowners and businesses and our farmers. Shortly following that, there were centers set up and down the Mohawk Valley, right here at Herkimer County Community College. We had over 1,000 applicants visit this center right here alone, and many others over the telephone with a special helpline. And today, residents of the region are seeing the fruits of that labor. Today, the flood relief money is beginning to flow, and this is a tremendous infusion into our local economy as well. I don't recommend it as an economic development strategy, but this is a tremendous infusion in our local economy as it helps so many individual homeowners, farmers, and other business owners as well. No question, the rebuilding will be a difficult process, but the determination and support of the governor, the state legislature, our county and local officials, including our first responders, so many supportive agencies, countless volunteers, and of course, the resilient spirit of the people of our region. We will get through this together. And I love this sign, building back better. Not only will we get through this, we're coming back better than ever. That's what today is all about, and thank you all for being here. And I would like to, at this time, turn it over to, from the Assembly side, Assemblyman Santa Barbara. Assemblyman?
Thank you, Senator Seward, and good morning, everyone. It's good to see you back here again, Governor Cuomo. On behalf of the 111th Assembly District, which includes Montgomery County, was hit hard by the flooding. I'm honored to join you all here for this announcement. I'd like to take a moment to recognize some of my colleagues, Assemblyman Anthony Brindisi, Assemblyman Mark Butler, Assemblyman Mark Butler, and Assemblywoman Claudia Tenney. In the last several weeks, communities across the Mohawk Valley have started the recovery and rebuilding process necessitated by the recent flooding that we all talked about that took place earlier this year. It was a difficult time for everyone. However, they did not have to do it alone, because Governor Cuomo and my colleagues in the state legislature stepped up and promised that our state government would be there every step of the way. And today, we're delivering on that promise, and in record time. In addition to sending the National Guard and DEC personnel, our governor also deployed the Department of Financial Services Mobile Command Center to help storm victims in our area figure out how they were going to deal with the financial implications of the disaster. And immediately after FEMA did not come through with the desperately needed individual aid, the governor announced right here in this room the New York State Flood Recovery Program. Included millions of dollars of aid for homes and businesses across the area. Once again, Governor Cuomo has proven that not only do New Yorkers come together in times of need, but also that our state government can lead the way with quick and decisive action to remove obstacles and deliver results. The Mohawk Valley has a true friend, a partner, and a leader in our governor. And it's a pleasure to join him here today for this announcement. And again, I thank you, Governor Cuomo, for being here, and I thank you for all of the help that you provided for our residents. And now, I'm pleased to introduce Oneida County Executive Anthony Picente.
Thank you, Assemblyman Santa Barbara, and thank you, Governor, for being with us again. And the nice thing about going last is everybody said everything, so I can do a little bit of a recap. But I do want to thank the Governor for his continued support and help in this really what has been, for many people, a tragedy. Weeks ago, when most residents are planning for a summer of enjoyment and recreation to all we have here in New York, many of our residents had to deal with this tragedy and had to deal with rebuilding their own lives, their homes, their businesses over and over. And it has been a long haul, but we have had a great partner with us in Governor Cuomo. He came here the first day. He has been with us and in constant contact with us, and as the Senator said, he's been here 5 times really over the last few weeks, helping us move through this process, showing the residents of this community and throughout that he is, and this is one New York, and that we work together best when we can work together in our communities. All boundaries go away. Lines don't mean anything on a map. Parties don't mean anything. It's about doing what's right for the people of this great state. The governor's commitment to residents in Oneida County and throughout all of the Mohawk Valley, I want to personally thank you on behalf of the residents of Oneida County for all that you've done in helping us get through this. And it is, as the sign states, it wasn't just about rebuilding. It wasn't just about building back. It was about building back better. And we are going to do that. We are going to do that as a region. We are going to do that as a state. And to all, again, to all of the first responders, to all of the businesses, helping businesses, to all of the neighbors helping neighbors throughout there, I thank you. This is a great state. It is a great place to live, and we have a great partner and a great friend and a great leader in the governor. And just a few years ago, When you said help was coming from Albany, you would look a little puzzled as an elected official. That isn't the case anymore, and I want to thank the governor again for all of his continued work in this endeavor and everything he has done to lead us forward over the last couple years. So I am very pleased to be with all of you today. I want to thank you, and to all those families who are receiving assistance, and the farmers and the businesses, God bless you, and let's keep growing. Thank you very much.
Okay, let's get down to business now. I'd like to welcome up some of the recipients from that are going to receive checks today. If they can come on up with the governor, and we can take, yes, Herkimer County recipients, please come up to the podium first. Okay, if we could have the recipients from Oneida County come on up. And last but not least, the recipients from Montgomery County.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Before we leave today, on a personal note, I want to personally thank Governor Cuomo for his commitment to our region, not just Herkimer County, but the entire region. You've been a true friend in all this. A few weeks ago, we were flooded by devastation, and today we're being flooded with help, promised help. So thank you very much, Governor. And please. So that concludes our program. Thank you for coming.